It was a new morning at Peppa Pig's house. The sun shone softly through the window, and everything felt just like always, calm and familiar. Peppa came downstairs, rubbing her sleepy eyes and hugging her teddy. She walked over to the fish bowl to greet her beloved goldfish.
Good morning, Goldie,
She whispered with a smile. But Goldie wasn't swimming. She didn't come up to the glass like she always did. She was just lying on her side, perfectly still, in the quietest water Peppa had ever seen. At first, Peppa thought Goldie was just sleeping. She tapped the bowl gently. Once, twice, nothing. Not a bubble, not a flick of a fin. Her smile faded. A strange feeling crept into her chest. Something tight, heavy. She called out.
Mommy, Daddy, Goldie not moving.
Mummy Pig rushed in first, followed by Daddy Pig. They both looked into the bowl. Mummy let out a quiet sigh. Daddy looked down. They didn't say a word, but Peppa knew. Even George stood beside her, wide-eyed and quiet.
She has gone,
Peppa whispered.
Yes, sweetheart,
Said Mummy softly.
Goldie has gone to fishy heaven.
Tears began to fill Peppa's eyes. She gently picked up the bowl and walked outside. Under the old apple tree, she sat down in the grass, hugging the bowl close to her chest like she could still keep Goldie warm.
You were my very first real friend.
She whispered.
I told you my secrets. I sang you songs. Even when I was sad, you were always there. You never laughed at me.
She drew a picture. Goldie smiling, swimming in the water, surrounded by little stars. That evening, the whole family gathered under the tree. Daddy Pig dug a small hole. Peppa gently placed a box with Goldie inside, along with the drawing. Goodbye, Goldie, she whispered. Swim among the stars now. George placed a small flower next to the box. Even he looked serious. That night, Peppa couldn't fall asleep. Mummy, she whispered from her bed, do you think Goldie was happy with me? Of course, Peppa, Mummy replied. You loved her very much, and love never goes away. The next morning, Peppa went out to the tree and placed one more tiny flower in the grass, and when she looked up at the sky, she saw one little star twinkling just a bit brighter than all the others.
It was just an ordinary day at Peppa Pig's house. Warm sunlight was pouring through the windows, and Peppa was sitting on her bed, scrolling through games on her phone. Suddenly, the screen flickered, and a new message appeared. The sender was unknown. On the screen, it simply said, "Hello, Peppa. I'm nearby." Peppa smiled. She thought it was just one of her friends playing a joke. She put the phone aside and returned to her game. But the phone buzzed again. Another message popped up. "Why did you turn away? Look out the window." Peppa slowly lifted her eyes. The window was open. The thin curtain trembled lightly in the wind. Outside, there was no one, just the gray sky and the empty yard. Peppa felt her heart race faster. She tried to ignore it, convincing herself it was just a prank. But the phone buzzed again. This time the message was short, only 3 words. "Don't look back." Peppa froze. The room suddenly felt quieter. Even the birds outside seemed to stop singing. And of course, she turned around. Behind her, everything looked the same. Her familiar room, and yet something about it felt wrong. The phone screen lit up again. The final message read, "Now you're alone." The screen cracked. The lights went out. And in the reflection of the window, Peppa saw herself, but not the way she remembered.
It was Peppa Pig's birthday. The whole house was getting ready. Balloons, cake, presents, everyone was happy.
Yay! I am 5 today. Where is my present?
Right here, Peppa. We hid it under the table. Open it.
This isn't a toy. It has a note.
Inside the box was a burned, old piece of paper. On it, shaky handwriting read, "You forgot, but we remember."
What does that mean?
That night, Peppa couldn't sleep. She kept feeling like someone was watching her through the window. When she woke up, the same note was at the edge of her bed. But now, there was a drawing of her family on the back, except their eyes were blacked out.
Mommy, Daddy, George, why are you drawn like this?
Don't be silly. Peppa, go back to bed. Next morning, footsteps echo, eerie silence. The next morning, Mummy Pig was gone. Her teacup sat on the table, but she never came downstairs.
Daddy, George, where is Mommy? Daddy!
She ran into the living room and found another note, a new drawing. Now, only Daddy, George, and Peppa were left, and under it, a chilling message. She was the first. Night again, scratching, muffled whispers.
Who is there? George!
Do you remember, Peppa? Do you remember how you laughed? How you forgot?
The window rattled. Shadows crawled along the walls. Portraits on the wall began to fade. First Daddy, then George. Only one face remained, hers. By morning, the house was empty. They say the Pig family's house is still there, empty, but if you pass by at midnight, you can hear a soft whisper, "You forgot, but we didn't."
When Peppa was little, she had a favorite teddy bear, Teddy. She carried him everywhere, to the park, to the store, even to the bath. He was old and worn out, but Peppa believed he was alive. George was the same. His green dinosaur was like a real friend to him. They held tea parties, built little houses for them, told them stories. Those were happy days, until one evening changed everything. Peppa accidentally dropped Teddy in the mud. He got soaked, dirty. One of his eyes came loose and dangled on a thread, and his paw tore at the seam. Mummy Pig wanted to throw him away. "He's dirty, Peppa. We'll get you a new one." But Peppa shouted, "No, he's mine. He can hear." They put the toy away in an old box up in the attic. Peppa sat by the window for a long time, looking upward, as if waiting for him to return on his own. From that night on, the house didn't feel safe anymore. Strange sounds echoed in the night. Creaks, quiet footsteps. At first, the parents said, "It's just mice." Then, "It's the wind." And later, "You're just tired." But one night, George woke up in tears and said that his dinosaur had walked to his bed, all by itself. He just stood there and stared. Peppa began to fear the dark. Once she opened her eyes and saw a shadow on the floor, soft, round, like a bear. She blinked, and it was gone. "I must have imagined it," she whispered. "I must have..." But one night, things changed. Peppa woke up and couldn't move. Something was pressing down on her chest. She heard soft footsteps approaching. In the moonlight, she saw Teddy, sitting on the floor. That same old bear. One eye dangled by a thread, his paw torn, stitches sticking out. But he was looking right at her. Peppa didn't scream. She froze. "You left me, Peppa," he whispered in a low, raspy voice. From the shadow stepped George's dinosaur. But now it had sharp teeth, and its eyes glowed red. They both stepped closer. "We were your friends. And now, you belong to us." The room went dark. The ceiling vanished. The walls began to move. Children's drawings appeared all around. A house, the sun, Mummy, Daddy. And in every picture, Peppa with a twisted face, standing beside the bear and the dinosaur, with claws and glowing eyes. She jumped from the bed. The door, locked, the window, boarded up. Everything disappeared. Only darkness remained. And footsteps, getting closer. And then, silence. In the morning, Daddy Pig found them sleeping on the floor, hugging Teddy and the dinosaur. Everything looked peaceful. But Peppa didn't wake up right away. And when she finally opened her eyes, she said nothing. Since that day, she hasn't spoken again. Only at night, you can sometimes hear her whispering, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Teddy. Please, don't come back."